Hello humans and other species. I'm Batsy, and today we are going to take a look at a new design I made for a gold farm. This time we are using granite as the production chain to increase the gold production by more than double. It's something that I tested recently, and if you're interested in the numbers, I recommend checking this video that I made about it. For this guide, we will take a look at the general idea of the farm, as well as the production chain used for it. We will see how the farm balances itself to be endlessly sustainable. And I will be showing you how to import the farm into your worlds and fix any bugs that comes with schematics. But if you followed along the video and you still have a problem or a bug that you can't figure out how to solve, everyone is welcome to join my Discord server. I have a help section just for that. And if the tutorial is helpful to you, maybe leave a like or a comment. It greatly supports the channel. As always with Create, it all starts with a Cobble Generator. For this design, I went for the standard gantry Cobble Generator. It's a compact build, it's decently reliable, and it's not too hard to set up. The way it works is by having two different gantry shafts facing opposite directions. The platform that breaks the cobblestone is connected to two different gantries, each one for their own shaft. This particular setup causes the following interaction. One of the gantry carriages will take priority, and that will move the platform until the end of that shaft. When that happens, the gantry carriage will stop, but the second one will take priority, moving it backwards along the line. They will endlessly alternate between one and the other, and thus constantly breaking all the cobblestone that generates. Because every time the platform reaches the end, the contraption materializes for just a moment, enough to break anything that was in its place. So that raises the question, how we get the cobblestone there in the first place? That's thanks to a tank with lava inside and a layer of pumps that run at 1 RPM. The pumps will try to empty the lava, but because we are waterlogging all of the pumps, it will generate cobblestone instead. Because of this and the slow speed of the pumps, the tank never has the chance to empty said lava. That means that just a single bucket of lava per tank is enough for the Cobble Generator, which makes it quite handy. This gantry interaction was originally showcased by 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬, but for this farm, I have changed one thing. I'm using hoppers because at exactly 100 RPM, hoppers suck the cobblestone in, which means that we should never have random cobblestone laying around. And I said exactly 100 RPM because that's the maximum speed at what the hoppers can work. Any speed higher and the hopper won't keep up. The original design used funnels in the platform itself, but it sometimes wasn't able to properly gather the cobblestone, so it would leave some items laying around. Not the end of the world, but I don't particularly like it. It's also worth pointing out that even hoppers might leave items around between the pumps if the server is lagging enough. But other than that, it's the same concept, so if you want more details, I recommend just checking 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬's video instead. The next section is the production chain that takes most of the cobblestone and processes it all the way to quartz. That will be the main ingredient for diorite and granite. First, we are going to process the cobblestone into gravel with just 3 pairs of crushing wheels. Then we take said gravel and process it down to sand with another set of 3 pairs of crushing wheels. Said sand will get haunted, converting them into soul sand, while the side products of clay and flint will simply get tossed into lava. The last step is to wash up the soul sand to produce both quartz and gold nuggets. But that only gets us as far as the quartz. If we are meant to make gold out of granite, how do we get there? That's thanks to the next 2 sections. The first one is to produce the diorite. It uses a series of 10 2x2 mechanical crafter sets. That's because in the base Create mod, there is no other way of making diorite. Said diorite goes into a buffer vault that we will take a look later and makes its way down to the next section where we are producing the granite. This time we do have a recipe to make it with mixer, which makes the footprint a bit smaller. Mixers are also a bit better when it comes to logistics. Andesite funnels are enough, which makes this section cheaper too. And it doesn't require endless hoppers or mechanical arms like the mechanical crafts do. But I digress. Said granite will then be moved forward where it will be crushed down to red sand by a pair of crushing wheels. And you might be thinking, well, hold on, isn't that the same as making red sand out of terracotta? Well, if you haven't seen my other video where I explain it, the bottom line is that to make terracotta you need to wash up sand to get the clay first. That's a process that uses tons of sand to barely get any clay, and then we still need to pack it into clay blocks. In short, for every block of cobble we produce, we can make more granite than we can make terracotta. That's basically what it comes down to. So with that aside, we take the red sand and wash it up to get the gold nuggets. That gets converted into gold ingots and then stored wherever you want it to be. I'm using a random barrel just to signal where the output is. I've been running this farm for several hours, and it has been constantly making between 2,200 and 2,300 gold ingots per hour. When it comes to balancing the farm, it all goes down to two small details. The farm itself is consuming anything around 99% of the cobble we are generating. I don't care enough to figure out the exact number, but the fact is, after many hours, it will eventually fill up the vault. So a simple threshold will turn offline the Cobble Generator for some minutes to drain it back down. You can adjust it as you please. The farm produces and consumes so much cobble that it shouldn't take much time to burn whatever it's left on the vault. You might be asking, well, why not try to consume the excess cobblestone then? Because it's such a minimal amount that adding a single crusher or a single extra mixer will just mean having said mixer doing nothing for most of the time. The second part that needed to be balanced is the quartz. When you power up the farm for the first time, it will take some time to reach 100% capacity. The quartz needs to backlog through the farm to do so. But once that happens, it's the same as before. 11 aren't enough, and the quartz eventually overflows. But 12 mixers are too much, and the farm can never properly backlog to reach maximum capacity. So to fix that, we are running 13 mixers, and 2 of them are offline. There is a threshold looking at the quartz vault that is set to reverse signal. That means that those 2 mixers that are receiving the signal will remain offline until the vault is full enough. At that point, they will start to consume the quartz until it reaches the lower threshold again. Could this be optimized further? Probably. But these are the sweet spots I found when I was testing with it. Trying to consume more cobble just meant other balance issues somewhere else. Trying to consume more or less quartz, and the same deal happened. The important thing is that this should allow the farm to run on its own indefinitely. Alright, Batsy, I'm sold. Where can I buy this amazing farm? Well, for $0 you can download it right now from the video description. And once you do that, the next thing you will want to do is upload it to your own world. I'm calling it Batsy Granite Gold Farm, so do make sure you downloaded the right one and not some random bat documentary. Now that we have it uploaded, we want to place it down somewhere, and here's where I will tell you the same disclaimer I say every time. I don't recommend rotating the schematic because it's going to mess up the directions of belts and other things. If you do, well, do keep in mind you will have to fix that as well. Once the cannon is done placing the farm, there are a few things we want to take care of before starting it. I usually start with the tanks and vaults. They are always bugged out, always. Just replace the parts that look broken until all of the texture look properly connected. And the same thing goes for the vaults. We want to replace all of the ones that look bugged until the textures look connected. And if it's still acting up, even though it looks fully connected, then just replace the entire vault. It's a bit annoying, but until they fix it, it is what it is. Oh, and I would also replace the small vaults. They sometimes bug too. The major bugs should be fixed, so now we need to set up the rest of the farm. In order to fill up the tanks with lava in survival, we're going to need 3 lava buckets, a pump, a cogwheel, a hand crank, and a drain. We want to transfer the lava from the bucket to the tank, and we obviously don't need to connect the pumps into a power station for that. Just dump the lava into the drain and spin the crank until all of it is gone. It's a bit cumbersome, but survival is like that. Next thing I recommend is to make sure the platform is actually glued. I have seen people complain before that the glue goes missing sometimes. We obviously going to need some power to run it, but I recommend a specific order before we start it up. First, we make sure that the clutch at the Cobble Generator is offline. Then we connect it into our power source and we release the main clutch. We don't need to worry about the speed controllers. They should already be set correctly. It's actually important that the farm is running before the platform starts moving around. It will avoid some water flooding due to the pumps having a tiny delay. But now we can waterlog all of the pumps, and usually doing 2 consecutive sides is enough for the water to spread to the rest. But always check to make triple sure. There is 2 more spots that need water. The second encased fan by the 3 long vault. We just need to waterlog the slab to make it work. And at the very end of the chain by the last vault. Also, just waterlogging the slab is enough. This one is by the bottom crushers. It's hard to miss. Now yes, we can go ahead and activate the Cobble Generator, which apparently doesn't want to make any sounds today. Well, that's a new bug for me. You should see how the cobblestone quickly spreads across the belt, but the quartz will take a bit longer to backlog. Alright, a minute later and some quartz has already been processed and it's being fed into the system. And a few more minutes later, and the quartz is being spread on both levels, so there is already some granite being made. And sure enough, there is even gold in here already. During the tests, it took me about 10 minutes or so for most of the farm to be running, and around 30 minutes to reach max capacity. But obviously, it will still be producing gold from the start. Just takes a bit to ramp up to full. But this will be it for today. I hope the Fangies enjoyed this video. I tried to make it as dynamic and fun to watch as possible. So if you did enjoy it, consider leaving a like and a comment. It greatly supports the channel. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you all for the next one.